So a warm welcome. And I always say to students that the dean is the person that you only want to have to see twice in your 3 years here. So I really only want you to need to see me twice in your 3 years. Today, for the address, and when I announce your name at graduation. Because usually anybody who has to see me between now and graduation has a problem. And I don't want you to actually have any problems. I want you to have a smooth journey. I'm going to date myself. In 1987, I was in your position. I had gotten off a plane from St. Vincent the Sunday. And I found UWI really just a very intimidating place. It was, I guess, coming from my high school, the campus was huge. There were all these strange faces. Young people nowadays are a lot bolder than people in my time, so maybe you don't feel intimidated. You're just wondering, why is this silly old man up here telling you these stories? I don't know. But what I want to say is that the 3 years I spent here were some of the most important years of my life. And I want to encourage you to really enjoy your life here. All the stresses you think you encounter here are really nothing as to what will come after. You really need to enjoy these 3 years. Your college days, particularly your undergrad, are years when you really grow up. You make friendships that last forever. Many people meet their spouses and others here. So really, it's an important phase of your life that you want to enjoy. I'm going to encourage you to study hard, but when I was an undergrad here, we had informal graduation requirements. So if you didn't attend your quota of FETs, we didn't think you deserved the degree. Okay, if you didn't really take part in any sports or other social activities, again, we didn't think that you deserved to graduate. So I want you to embrace the campus experience. The place is set up for you. It's 3 years of your life where you are in a long-term camp studying. Enjoy it to the max, because after this, I think life tends to go downhill. Now, while you are here, I also want you to have a bigger sense of what you are part of. So you are really a student in the Faculty of Social Sciences at the Cave Hill campus of UWI. But UWI is a much larger enterprise, so you should think of yourself really as one of the 40,000 students that make up UWI family. Okay, so again, it's very easy for you to get a narrow view that I am in a particular degree, a particular set of courses, but UWI is a much bigger Caribbean experiment. So we have 4 campuses. There's the Mona campus, which is the oldest in Jamaica and still the largest. There's St. Augustine in Trinidad, which is close to Mona. They keep jostling for first and second in terms of size. You're at the Cave Hill campus, the smallest, but we think the best. And then there's the open campus, which is the virtual degree. And across those 4 campuses, there are about 45,000 students. So I'm welcoming you to a fairly large university and a tradition of excellence. In terms of the academic part, my late grandfather used to say all the time that a little knowledge is a bad thing. And one of the things that I noticed over the years that bothers me is that a lot of students do the degree, they get it done, but they leave here knowing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. If you're going to spend 3 years of your life doing something, you really want to leave here an expert in what you studied. You really want to know this thing tall and deep. It's no point coming up here for 3 years and you leave here and you know a little bit of sociology or whatever. You really need to dive into your discipline and really become an expert. Because the world you live in is very different from when I was here in 87. When I graduated, there were so few people in the Caribbean who had university degrees that I was almost guaranteed a pretty decent job. Over the years, UWI was going to say there are 45,000 here now. We graduate maybe 10,000 people a year, so it's a very competitive environment. There are a lot of people with degrees, so in addition to the degree, you really have to be able to distinguish yourself. So I invite you to really dive into your work. And for many of you, one of the big transitions is after today, we're not really going to interfere with you, you know. If you're coming from a high school or community college, when you come to UWI, nobody's checking whether you come to class. There's no weekly homework. Nobody is bothering you. You are pretty much on your own, and it can be quite easy to slip into all the activity, and then suddenly there's this thing goes up called the exam timetable, and there's all sort of panic and so on. So one of the bits of advice is to think of this as a kind of a full-time job in a way. If you go to work, how many hours are you expected to work a day? It's an 8-hour day. For a normal load, you would take 5 courses. So you really want to think that I want to spend, if you're taking a full-time load, you want to commit 40 hours a week to your studies. I'm not talking about coming to class and tutorials. This is 40 hours a week where you spend drinking deep from this cup of knowledge, because a little knowledge is not going to get you far in today's complex environment. So it's a very loose arrangement compared to secondary schools. I think that's one thing you need to prepare for. We have a timetable, but I teach a course in here. If you look at it here, when I come in here, I really can't tell who was here or not. I don't really care. No one is taking attendance. What I care is what you write on my exam. And I don't know you. So even if you sat and you smiled for me sweetly and you wrote nonsense on the exam, I don't even know who you were. So it's quite important to cater for that adjustment. No one is monitoring you. It's an adult institution. So you are now responsible for your own learning. The second major difference, I think, is in terms of the learning experience is what the faculty expects from you. So if you're doing, say, A-levels, if you go to class and you take very good notes and you read your textbook and you write back most of what is in there, you would probably get an A. So just giving back what was given to you in class would have gotten you very good grades before here. Now, if you just give back Alana's notes to her and what's in her textbook, what grade would they likely get, Alana? They'll probably get a C. Okay, so a big change is that you simply cannot give back what you heard in lectures and what you read in the text. You're expected to engage the material in a wider way. Also, what is your interpretation? What is the extra reading that you have to do? So it's an odd thing to say for a lecturer, and I say it every year I teach, it gets me in trouble because people take it the wrong way. But students expect too much from their lectures. It's something, if I come to class, I pay attention, I take all those notes, and I give that back, I'm going to get an A. That has worked very well for you before, but at the university level, that is like a minimum requirement. You're going to have to engage the material, do some extra research, and bring some extra value added. So I think those are two really major differences in terms of your learning experiences today. You control your own time. There's nobody marking attendance, nobody checking whether you're in or out, so you have to manage that. Secondly, just giving back what you got in class is not going to be enough. You're going to have to engage and bring some extra to that if you want to get those grades. And contrary to what you've heard, UWI is not a place that we look into failure. I know people hear about that. They usually start my classes with my briefcase and, if there are 100 of you, I have 100 A's in here. Everybody can get an A, but you have to actually earn it and work for it. And those are two major changes in the learning experience. Now, today is kind of a business day for you, where in terms of your registration is done online. For many people, it's probably a new experience and so on. So when we break up from here, you would go into smaller groups where you would get that guidance in terms of how to complete your registration in an accurate manner. So again, I want to end by extending to you a very warm welcome. We are really pleased to have you here. We are very invested in you. When you do well, we look good. We are here to serve you. We see ourselves as your servants, as we help you develop in what I like to call students of conscience, competence, and compassion. Because UWI is in some ways an idea. Every university tries to produce students who are highly competent in their disciplines. But we want to encourage you also to be part of this whole project called Caribbean Development, developing a more ethical, so again, conscience, compassion for people around you. These are values we want to imbibe in you. So again, welcome and enjoy your 3 years here, because after undergrad, everything is downhill.